In this video essay, I will be covering the history of documentary and exploring if documentaries are truth and objective. This will help me understand the historical context of documentary. I am doing this because documentaries have been about for an exceptionally long time and they are still extremely popular today, and I want to find out why. This will help me out with my own work as I need to make a documentary and I want to know how they work to keep the viewers intrigued. Documentaries are non-fiction movies, and their main purpose, in my opinion, is to make you aware of something and actively take part in what is happening. They are made to inform, persuade, educate, entertain, and to just observe. For example, the documentary called Hoop Dreams. This documentary was directed by Steve James. This documentary is about two African American students dreaming about becoming pro basketball players. It is an observational documentary because it feels like you're watching their real life and not interfering with anything. Then, with a documentary like Blue Planet, which is narrated by Sir David Attenborough, this is made to educate and entertain you and maybe to persuade you to think a certain thing. Documentaries began when the first films were created by the Lumiere brothers in 1895. The quality of the film product was poor, but audiences flocked to see the new moving image. Their films were short, unedited clips capturing their life around them. For example, one of the first ever film was the arrival of train at La Ciotat in 1895, simply showing a train pulling into a station. These films were termed actualities and are the first documentaries. Today they would be known as observational documentaries. Nanook of the North was the first ever feature-length documentary, which was made in 1922. The documentary explores the life of Nanook and his family, who live on the Canadian Arctic. However, it has been argued if this documentary is real at all, as some scenes were staged. However, most of the footage was real and showed his family's struggles. It follows many of the conventions of documentaries, such as the third-person mode of address. Propaganda is an information of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote a point of view. For example, in World War II, the Nazis used propaganda and posters and stuck them all over Germany, saying that they would make the country better if they got help, and people believed it, so helped, and some were killed and some just didn't get what they were promised. Documentaries developed further when influential and important leaders realised the power of the moving image. People then decided to make documentaries about a specific country, political party, or ideology. This was termed propaganda in film. They were successful since people believed everything they saw without challenging the idea. Documentaries stopped showing in cinemas after the war ended, as fictional films took over in popularity. However, with the emergence of TV in the 1950s, documentaries have found their place in the media world. People still want to be informed, therefore documentary films remained popular. They are still extremely popular now and only going to become even more popular as they talk about past events, and so people will be able to learn about things that happened in the past. Like there are documentaries on World War II which helps us now understand what it was like back then. Subjective is things that are opinion based. So if you watch a nature documentary and it said something like tigers are nice, this is an opinion, as some people could think that tigers are horrible animals. People make these types of documentaries because they will find people that have the same opinions as them, and then that can start up conversations between each other about the documentary. Or it can cause people to disagree, and therefore people will express their own opinions, which can also lead to different conversations as people want to know why someone thinks different to them. Objective is things that are factual. So if you watch a crime documentary and there was a police officer telling someone the law, it is a fact. These documentaries are successful because it educates people about things they either don't know or just want to learn more. This will then spark conversations, as you can talk to other people about the facts you have learned, and then you can see how other people feel about the facts. Or after you have watched one of these documentaries, you then might want to go and watch another documentary on the same thing, see if you learn more about the topic. Truth in documentary filmmaking is a complex concept, and its core, the pursuit of truth in documentaries, involves presenting an accurate and unbiased representation of the chosen topic. Documentaries often aim to inform, educate, or persuade audiences by shedding light on various issues, perspectives, or historical events. However, the realization of absolute truth in documentaries can be elusive. Filmmakers face challenges in capturing the entirety of a situation as their lens necessarily selects and frames specific aspects. The editing process, which involves assembling footage into a cohesive narrative, introduces another layer of subjectivity. Filmmakers make decisions about what to include, exclude, emphasize, or downplay, influencing the audience's perception of reality. Documentary truth is further complicated by the presence of personal biases, ideological perspectives, and cultural contexts that filmmakers bring to their work. While some documentaries aim for objectivity, it's nearly impossible to eliminate all traces of subjectivity, as the filmmaking process is inherently interpretive. Documentaries often rely on interviews, and the credibility of the participants can impact the perceived truthfulness of the film. Individuals may have their own perspectives, motivations, or limitations in providing accurate information. Fact checking becomes crucial in maintaining the integrity of the documentary. But even this process is not foolproof. In conclusion, truth in documentaries is a multifaceted concept. While filmmakers aspire to present an honest depiction of their subjects, the inherent subjectivity, editing choices, and potential biases introduce limitations. There are many persuasive techniques you can use in documentaries, and they always grab the audience's attention. The first one is statistics. Statistics are helpful in documentaries as it gives a sense of how bad or good something is. For example, a documentary about World War II will have statistics about how many people died during the war, showing you how bad it was during those times. The next persuasive technique is images. Images are very useful in documentaries as pictures can make you feel a certain way, whether it be happy or sad feelings. Another technique you can use is narration. Narration is very helpful as the audience can then hear your opinion on what they think of the subject, and that will then make the audience think if the narrator is correct or not. Persuasive techniques give the impression of truth, but some would argue not the whole truth. Then there is Frankenbiting. Frankenbiting condenses statements to make them cleaner, quicker, and more concise by eliminating irrelevant information from an interview. However, this can go wrong. An example of this going wrong is when the BBC had to apologise to Queen Elizabeth II after admitting it misrepresented her by implying she stormed out of a photo shoot with American photographer Annie Leibovitz. So you must be careful when Frankenbiting. Documentaries today have changed a lot from what they used to be. They are still very popular and a lot of people watch them all the time. Netflix even started making their own documentaries. Netflix won its first Oscar and its first BAFTA. The awards were not for any of its high-profile drama series but for two documentaries. The Academy Award went to The White Helmets and the BAFTA winner was 13th Ava DuVernay's film about race in the US criminal justice system. Netflix have started making documentaries for several reasons, but I think it's because more and more people are starting to like documentaries and they want more people to pay for the membership, so they are trying to bring in the audiences that like documentaries so they can make more money.